Game week 9 is done. Welcome back, guys. So let us know whether your captaincy paid off, were your picks the best, how many points you got. Because looking at this game week, so many managers just couldn't hit the mark. But never to worry, we have a long road to go. So there are some few game weeks to make up for all that. So before we do get into it in this video, we'll just give you a breakdown of what happened in game week 9, after which we'll look at how game week 10 comes, would be coming, and some few thoughts heading into game week 10. But would have a video prior to game week 10 to give you a full breakdown analysis and some picks you could have. So before we do get into it, I would like you to kindly like, subscribe. Let's build a channel together. Hit that subscribe button, share, let a friend also subscribe, and let's get interactive. All right, guys, so welcome back. As I said, game week 9 is done, and let's look at how the fixtures went by. So it started on Friday with Leeds United taking on West Ham, Leeds beating them by 2 goals to 1. Rather unfortunate. So it continued on Saturday. Chelsea took on Sunderland. So Sunderland beat them by 2 goals to 1. So I think their old rivals are back and they just came to torment them. So let's see how it goes. Then Newcastle winning by 2 goals to 1. Manchester United beating Brighton Hove Albion by 4 goals to 2. It looks like Ruben Amorim's men are getting the job done. Let's see whether they can be consistent. All right, then it ended with Brentford beating Liverpool by 3 goals to 2. So obviously Liverpool are still struggling. I think there's about 4 losses in a row in all competitions. So let's see how it goes for them, whether they'll be able to pick up their form, how things will go. Then on Sunday, it started with Arsenal beating Crystal Palace by a goal to nil. Aston Villa doing same to City by beating them by a goal to nil. Bournemouth beating Nottingham Forest by 2 goals to 0. Burnley victorious over Wolves by 3 goals to 2, and ended with a very comfortable win, by Tottenham Hotspurs over Everton, who beat Everton by 3 goals to 0. So it was a very interesting match, the Spurs match, and I'm sure managers with Van der Ven would be smiling low key because Charlie, he was a rescuer to most managers. So that's how the fixtures were looking. That is for game week 9. Let's get into the stats. Let's see how the players fared. So the most selected heading into game week 9 was Haaland, followed by Semenyo. We had Joao Pedro, Gabriel, the Raka, we have Kudus, and quite so Van der Vent was in the mix about 31.2%. So if the 31.2%, that percentage of managers had them starting, you just know that you'll be good to go because he was a top scoring player this game week. So if you had him and you played him, you should be good to go. So with captaincy, I realized that Haaland was the most captain. We had Salah in the mix. We had Semenyo. We had Jokeres. We have Joao Pedro. Of all these players, I think Salah was the most profitable, given 6 points, followed by Semenyo. So it looks like this game week, most managers didn't really have so much returns. That is to do with captaincy. But it's one of those weeks. Sometimes things just don't pan out. So it's good to have a very varied squad where if even your captain doesn't really show up, you know some players could easily boost you. So that is what happened. And we had Salah in the mix. It's good. So as I said, it's good to keep your faith in him, and he rewarded some managers. Unfortunately, I sold him and he scored. So it's one of those things. I'll continue with my analysis and we'll see how it goes. But keep your faith in Salah. This is a man who has done it consistently for over 2 to 3 seasons. So we are hoping this season, at least he wraps it up nicely for us before what can come. So we had so amongst the selected renders and a few others. So we still had some players there. Then let's look at game week 9, how the points came. So as I said, Van der Ven was leading the charts. He was a top scoring player with 23 points. So if you had him, you should be good to go. Mbwebo as well, having 15, Matt Cash 15, Casemiro 15, Fleming 13, Rondon 13. So all in all, it looks like it was just there were players that most managers didn't really value. Let me put it that way because Cash had 4.9% of managers owning him. Mbuebo 19.1. So I did mention that you could really look at Mbuebo because it looks like he's the one getting things done for him, and obviously he did get it done. So and rewarded managers who had him at 15 points. So you could still consider having him. We'll go through the fixtures. It's not a bad option now, but it looks like Man U team are trying to get their job done. So you could easily consider him. Looking through, you have Casemiro 0.3. So just a very minute number of managers had him. Fleming was even lower, 0.1. Rondon 6.1. Dango 0.4. So it goes to show that most managers, this game week, most managers were there. Just a few managers were awarded. So it's one of those things. Other times, so it will just not play out for you. But that's why I always say get a varied team. You have the constants, but get somewhat of a differential to also help your team. So that's how it's looking for the most selected and the total points as well. So all in all, players in form, you still have Gabriel leading the charts. I think he had a good I think the clean sheet, so his points were good. You have Haaland in the mix thereabouts. You have Semenyo and Mbeumo, Welbeck. So Mbeumo climbing up the charts. You have Welbeck in the charts thereabouts. You have Rice, Thiago. So Thiago looks like a very low key differential. So you could consider him. Bruno Guimaraes, I mentioned him. He also delivered quite some good returns from managers who had him. So that's how it was looking. That's how it's looking for the points and most selected. So it's quite good. So the most transferred in you have Mbwebo followed by Mateta, Thiago, Woltemade. So it's a good selection. So I think managers listened and Mbwebo rewarded. Mateta in subsequent game weeks, I believe, would provide the returns. Thiago week in, week out. It's going to be varied, but low key he's still going to be providing when it's needed. So Joao Pedro is still leading the charts on most transferred out, followed by Salah, Rendes, Kudus. Isaac too is in the mix there about. Jokeres is in the mix, Gravenbeck in the mix, Virgil van Dijk. So all these players, somewhat somehow, they look it's very understandable because Joao Pedro is struggling to provide the goals. I don't know what's really going on with the Chelsea team, but we hope for the best. Salah too is struggling to also provide a goal. So both Chelsea and Liverpool are struggling to get things done. I just think they need to tweak a few things here and there, either rotate defensively and get a solid pair, or just change the attacking principles a bit, and we should be good to go with those things. Renders so is also struggling. So I did mention that it looks like City are over reliant on Haaland, and if he's to blank, things might not really go well. And it showed, but who is one of those things? It could just be a very structured game, so that's why they couldn't really come out on top. So let's see how it goes in the subsequent game weeks, whether things will turn around for them. Kudus too as well is among the most transferred out. So let's look at the fixture difficulty rating. At least look at the next 2 to 3 game weeks, how things are looking for most teams. So we've mentioned it as well. This is the best time to have Arsenal players. So if you don't have them, it's going to be a good time. If you've not used your wild card, use it, get your Arsenal players in there, and you should be good to go. You could also avoid Bournemouth players for now because it looks like they have a tricky set coming up. Aston Villa as well, tricky. Brentford have somewhat good fixtures, so you could consider Thiago to at least get the goods for you if things go their way. Brighton and Hove Albion have kind of a good set coming up, so you could also consider that. Burnley, one tough fixture followed by West Ham. West Ham are struggling, so let's see. Chelsea have Spurs followed by Wolves, Burnley. So there's a good run coming up. They have Arsenal in the mix thereabouts, followed by Leeds and Bournemouth. So they have a good run coming up, but they are struggling with a few issues, but nevertheless, there's a team that they can easily get the job done. So why not consider getting some Chelsea players? You should be good to go. Crystal Palace have some okay fixtures coming, so you could consider some Crystal Palace players. You should be good to go. Everton as well. Things didn't really go well for them, but they showed a lot of promise in the Spurs match. So why not? You could have some Everton players. Fulham to have quite a good run coming, so you could consider Fulham. Leeds United, it looks very dicey, but uh, why not have a differential? It doesn't really hurt. Liverpool have a dicey run coming with their form now, so you would want to be very diplomatic. City have quite some tricky fixtures coming up, also very diplomatic when it comes to that. Man U are in good form, so let's see how this run goes for them. They have Nottingham, they have Tottenham, they have Everton in the mix all there. So let's see how it goes for them. Then followed by the Newcastle have some two good fixtures coming up, followed by City. So let's see how that goes as well. Then Nottingham, they have some tricky fixtures coming up, but first two should be good for them. Then they take on Liverpool. They have Manchester United as well. That is next week, so we see. Then Spurs have a tricky set coming up, so you want to be very cautious. But there's a team in form, so why not? Let's see how it goes for them. Sunderland, it looks tricky, but they've proven themselves that they've shown that they are ready to come and stay. So let's see how it goes. West Ham are struggling. Looks like they have an okay set of fixtures coming up, but nevertheless, they are struggling. Wolves as well are struggling, so you'd want to avoid these two teams. And let's see how it goes. So that is how it's looking for the next 2 to 3 games. So you could just have this in mind, considering how things will be going heading into game week 10. Then you should be okay to go once the fixtures, once the game week begins. It begins on Saturday. So the game week begins on Saturday. So you could consider how it's looking for you. Start with Brighton taking on Leeds United, followed by Burnley, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, Brentford next. Then we have Fulham Wolves. Then Nottingham Forest take on Manchester United. Then the big game of the round, we have Spurs Chelsea. We hope for an exciting match. Then Liverpool, Aston Villa. Then that ends the round for Saturday. Then on Sunday, two matches. There's West Ham, Newcastle. Then it ends with City, Bournemouth. Then we end the whole game week on Monday with Sunderland taking on Everton. So this is how it's going to be looking heading into game week 10. As FPL managers, just relax if things didn't go your way. If you feel you need to really change your team, this should be the best time for you to use a wild card. Or you could also consider using your bench boost if you feel you have a solid team and you want to take advantage of bench boost too could be a good time. And if all things being equal, from now to about 2 to 3 game weeks, you feel you're okay, you have a good set of players, you could just triple captain an Arsenal player, you should be good to go. But just be relaxed, be calculated. I think we have about 10 game weeks before the end of the first half of the season. So you have quite a little time to use your chips. So but if the best now to use would be wild card or triple captain. So consider and let's get things done. All right, so we are out.